In this episode today, Dr. Sabrina, we're going to dive into how micromanaging leads to employee burnout and decreased morale and inefficiencies in your team. We're going to discuss the power of autonomy and how trusting your team boosts performance and job satisfaction and retention and makes you more profitable. So I'm going to get started with just sharing from a team member's perspective. And full disclosure here, Dr. Sabrina is not a micromanager, but this has been coming up in our group as we coach our business owners. So we felt it was important to hop on today and share this. So today, I want to just share how micromanaging really affects your team members and what it does to them and everything that's happening on the back end of your business that you may not even be realizing as a result of micromanaging. So when you are micromanaging your team members, this leads to burnout and stress because your team feels constant pressure. So they're jumping back and forth. They're trying to complete tasks. But if they're waiting on you for answers, if they're waiting on you to give them the next step or the decision, and they can't make decisions on their own, they are feeling frozen. They're just going to freeze up and they're not going to get things done. And
Melissa, I think, because you've got me reflecting on my own experience years ago when I was a team member. And one of the things that I remember is when I worked for someone who was a micromanager, I was afraid. Yeah. So every time I put something forward, I was afraid it was either going to get positive feedback or very negative feedback, but there wasn't much gray in between. And so I had that anxiety. And so I remember like work was this constant state of stress, adrenaline, cortisol, all of that toxic mix of chemicals in my body. And that obviously for a long period of time, when you stay in that state, that leads to burnout.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. You know, you're really creating a relationship and an environment with this person that says, I have to have constant approval.
Yes. Yes. And it's constantly looking for that approval that is so draining. I mean, that completely shuts down our creativity. I can't be creative if I worry if someone's going to like what I do or not.
Right. And on the other end, the business owner is creating a situation where they're having to give that constant approval and constant feedback. So it burns them out as well. But, you know, really what this leads to is low morale and confidence, because a team member is second guessing every single thing that they do. So what's going to happen is they're going to get stuck. They're going to freeze up. Things aren't going to get done. Balls are going to be dropped because they feel as if they can't move forward.
Well, and, you know, we teach people how to treat us as business owners. And so when we have business owners who say, my team depends on me for everything, like they run everything by me, they're calling me and texting me constantly. I can't get a moment's peace because my team, when we hear that, the first thing we have to own for ourselves as business owners, we train them to be that way. And so it burns us out, but you've created a team that cannot move forward. They cannot move forward without your approval. And that creates stagnancy because there's no way you as the business owner can be there to approve everything in a timely fashion and keep all those balls rolling. And so it bogs the whole team down.
It does. And really what a lot of this goes back to is inefficient systems. So not having systems set up or constantly having the need to tweak the systems. So your team member can't just run with it. And truthfully, they want to be successful. And yet they just can't do what their gut's telling them to do. So they know what your clients and customers want and need because they're the one delivering the services. They're the ones in the day-to-day. But they just feel helpless.
Yes.
And what you said really hits home. They feel afraid.
Yeah.
So what happens is all of these inefficiencies are coming into play. This team member, you may see something good in them. On one hand, you're thinking, oh, well, they're an A player. And then on the other hand, you're losing hope in them because you have highs and then you have lows. Well, they're showing up today, but yesterday they didn't show up. And this creates constant confusion for both of you. But the truth is, it's a lack of system and it's time being wasted because that team member is going back and forth for your approval and changing things that are maybe already in place. So, what your team member could be doing is spend time on moving the needle forward on things that are most important and just trusting you and letting go.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Dr. Sabrina, tell our business owners how to stop it.
Okay. So the way to stop this, to stop being a micromanager, is to first understand that the majority of what you're doing as the business owner can be competently handled by others. There's some research that I cite in my talks lately that I'm doing, where us as knowledge workers, and that's every business owner, is doing 41% of what we're doing offers us little or no personal satisfaction and can be competently handled by others. So whenever people push back and say, well, I could never do a 25-hour work week, I think, first off, the majority of what you're doing can be competently handled by others, and it's probably not giving you a great deal of satisfaction. So let's get that off your plate. And so the chart of $10,000 an hour activities is the best place to start with stopping the micromanaging. Because when you print that chart out and you laminate it and you put it behind your computer monitor, every time you look up from a task and you ask yourself, was I just doing a $10,000 an hour task? Oh, wait, no, that was a $10 an hour task I was doing. It becomes painfully obvious how much time we're spending as business owners doing things that could be competently handled by others that would free up our time to work from our strengths, from our zone of genius. And so you can get this chart at tapthepotential.com/10K. And the beauty of this chart is understanding that a $10,000 an hour activity, every single one of us, no matter what role we're in the business, can be doing $10,000 an hour activities. So it's not just us as the business owner, but we can have our team members doing $10,000 an hour activities. We're doing $10,000 an hour activities when we are working from our strengths and we're doing something that makes everything else easier or unnecessary for ourselves or others. So when we start delegating and getting things off of our plate that are not $10,000 an hour activities, we may have A-player team members that we delegate to. They eventually are going to get overloaded and they have to learn how to delegate too. So it's not just us as business owners that needs to learn the skills. It's our team members too. But right now we're just talking about us as the business owner. And so the very best place, once you've downloaded this chart and you've realized, hey, I just spent 4 hours of my day doing activities that are worth anywhere from $10 to $100, but not any $10,000 an hour activity, is to identify who on your team could you trust to take on these $10 an hour activities that you just spent 4 hours doing. Mm-hmm. And delegation is like a muscle. We have to build it. And it's not going to go perfect and smooth every time. One of the easiest things for business owners to delegate is their calendaring or having someone check their email and, sort their email and send them only what they need to look at. And a lot of times business owners have a lot of trepidation around that because it's a sense of, what if they get it wrong? What if they miss something important that I needed to see? And you just have to try it out. And so if you have an A player that you're delegating to and they want to do better, so that intrinsic motivation is there, whatever mistakes happen, those are learning opportunities. So when I first delegated, and Melissa came in to Tap the Potential as my executive assistant, and I built my delegation muscle with her and having an EA. And because I'd never had an EA before, and I never had somebody who was sorting my email like that. And so she and I had to figure this out. And there were times that she sent things through, and I was like, Melissa, I don't really need to see that. So I would send her a message back. That's just a learning opportunity. And it helped us hone and refine that system. So we start with the simple things to get those off our plate. And then it's noticing how it feels. I think that is the key, is notice how it feels when you're no longer having to do that task. So when suddenly I've spent, 8 hours a week in my email, and now I'm down to 1 hour a week. Oh my gosh, I just had 7 hours of my time freed up.
Mm.
Notice what that feels like. It's addictive. It really is. It's like a drug. It's like, "Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, what else can I delegate? What's next?" And then we build our muscle, and it's by having success with those initial tasks that we delegate, and our team members having success as they take those tasks on. And I think for a business owner, the best thing is when our team members are excited when we delegate. We always think, I'm dumping this on them and they're not going to enjoy this because I don't enjoy it. It's not. That's not how it's perceived by them. It's perceived as, oh, they trust me to take on and do this thing for them that they don't enjoy doing. And now I get to create ease and convenience for them. And so there's this sense of personal satisfaction of, I'm helping. And when they buy into your vision and understand that when your time gets freed up in that way, you get to focus on some $10,000 an hour activity, they feel a sense of tremendous pride because they've taken work off of you so that you can help the business grow further. And obviously, Melissa no longer checks my email. We've since delegated that. She's moved up, but that's how this whole process works. And it's tuning in. The key is tuning into how good does it feel when you are delegating and you're delegating successfully. So it doesn't mean, and by the way, delegating successfully doesn't mean that it was executed perfectly the first time. It means that you're getting the result that you were looking for, and it's happening 80 to 90% of the time. That's great delegation.
Oh, I have experienced the transformation of being one not to delegate, to completely turning that around. Now, Caitlin on our team says I'm a delegating ninja, so I'm delegating professionally and personally with her, and it's really funny. But also when you're delegating things to your team members that your team members are really owning and in charge of anyway, you're giving them ownership. They are experiencing that sense of pride, but you're also making their job easier. So you're really reducing the friction for the things that they need to show up for. What actually spun off this episode was, I'm glad you brought up the EA role, because what spun this episode was one of our clients who has been procrastinating for almost a year delegating to his EA. And he brought the EA on. She's checking his emails. She's doing a great job at it. And she's taking a lot of initiative. And the next step is to have her answer all of the business phone calls. And I love what you shared. And this message is going out to him loud and clear. And that is, it's not going to be perfect the first time. Just get started and trust the learning opportunities. So, and many of our business owners are still checking their email, writing their own email, sending out their own newsletters, doing things that's really not moving the business forward, especially when they already have team members that can do that. So give a gold nugget to those business owners listening right now. So you've already shared how amazing you're going to feel when this is off of your plate. So just share a gold nugget and a next step to those business owners.
So to really understand that you are one small step away from taking 20 hours or more off of your work week by building your delegation muscle. So the first small step is to identify what $10 an hour task have you spent time on today, and then look at who you can delegate that to and just start that process, because if you continue to delegate forward, you will become that delegating ninja. I have a reputation in my household as a delegating ninja because my rule of thumb is I don't do anything that someone else can do for themselves. So all of these things that we learn as business leaders, we can use with our children too. And it makes life so much better for us business owners because we feel like we're carrying the world of responsibility on our shoulders. And then when we bring that home and we feel like we're carrying all the responsibility at home too, it's exhausting. So again, start small. The small steps forward, taken in a consistent direction, lead to big change in a relatively short period of time. Like if you could start this today and you continue to delegate, next year at this time, you'll be down to a 25-hour work week or maybe even less.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you the next steps on what your team needs so that you do not have to micromanage them and that they can show up and do what you need them to do. So it's all about systems. So if you are consider the things that you're doing that you want to delegate out, or maybe you have delegating, but you just haven't given that team member full control. Create the system around it and give your team members clear expectations and guidelines to work from. This could be simple as recording a video. You could record a video using a platform, or you could record your screen. That becomes how you build the system out. And then you just simply put it in your project management tool. And now you've created a library of videos that your team members can refer to on and on in the future. And you're taking something off of your plate. So having that project management tool is vital. That comes back to systems. We talk about that a lot on the Profit by Design podcast. And then the other thing is print out that chart of $10,000 activities and really ask yourself, if I stay doing the doing and all of these low value activities that I could be delegating out to someone else, will I achieve my vision? Will I achieve the goals for my business this year? Likely not. When we bring clients into our program, I routinely see, I would say, Dr. Sabrina, at minimum half of their work week could be being delegated to someone else on their team.
Wow. Wow. So if somebody's working 60 hours, you're saying at least 30 hours could be delegated. That's incredible.
Consistently.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's true, Melissa, because you repeatedly come to me, usually after about 3 weeks of someone being with us at Tap the Potential and saying, I just helped so-and-so cut 15 hours from their work week. So I know this is happening. It's ongoing for our clients.
Share with us, you've been working a 25-hour work week since the beginning of Tap the Potential. And recently you shared you've even cut that down significantly.
Yes.
Tell us how it feels now.
Yesterday was a day that I had no meetings. It was bizarre. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was checking, I did all the things that we tell our clients don't do. I was checking Voxer. Does somebody need something from me? It's quiet on Voxer. I was checking Slack. Everything was handled there. And I was all caught up on my work because I have my $10,000 an hour activities and they're all done. And I actually sat down in the middle of the day and watched a Netflix series. Like, it was crazy. But
wow.
that is because we have delegated and we have all elevated what we are doing at Tap the Potential. And my highest value activities don't take me 40 hours a week to execute. And that's the beauty of when we're working from our strengths.
Yeah, I love hearing this. What I need from you, and business owners that are tuning in, what your leadership team needs from you is the thing that you do best. I need you to be able to show up and be the visionary for the company, whatever that looks like for you. And then I need you to let me own my role with full autonomy. And we've given you the process of the last episode on client delivery and then now micromanaging. We've outlined the steps to get there. And once you reach that point where your team members are fully owning their space and they feel so much buy-in and satisfaction in their role because they feel successful too, and you've reduced that friction from them, you are really building a sustainable, profitable company.
Yes. And every time we delegate, we are creating opportunities for someone else to move up in the business. And opportunities for growth and development are the number one retention tool for A players. So if you want to attract and retain A players, build your delegation muscle.
I love this. So some of our listeners may not have a full team of A players. What are their next steps, Dr. Sabrina?
Well, then in that situation, I would recommend get How to Hire the Best on Audible, Kindle, paperback. Sign up for our How to Hire the Best course at tapthepotential.com/course. And when you come into the How to Hire the Best course, this is the best bargain out there because you sign up, you pay one time, and you have lifetime access for you and your team members to go through. So you can get, once you've hired an A player, you can get them to go through the course and finish the course because most business owners, here's a hint, don't finish courses. Can you imagine that? We sign up for stuff and don't finish it.
We're too busy micromanaging.
We're too busy micromanaging. So you learn how to hire an A player and you bring them into the course, and they usually are the ones who finish it. And the reason you want to finish the course is because then we feature you in our Great Place to Work spotlight at Tap the Potential because you have done the things to become a great place to work. But it doesn't have to be you, the business owner. But when you come into that course, Caitlin is a How to Hire the Best strategist. She and I hand hold you through customizing everything that you're learning in those videos to your business. We review your job ads. You can post questions in our Mighty Network. We do Q&As twice a month. On those Q&As, you can ask us anything about hiring, leadership, team development, player retention, job performance reviews, firing people, how to have this difficult conversation with this team member who's been on your team for 10 years, but they're not performing. All that kind of stuff. You can just ask that to us in the Q&A for How to Hire the Best. So it's huge value. And if you need to get A players on your team, just sign up for the course.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Sabrina. And thank you to everyone tuning in today.